It's Deprogram, the podcast where we try to get you into a band. That's right. We've done all the work for you. All you have to do is push play, or you've already pushed play. Sit there and listen to us talk. You gotta get born, as it were. And this is a rare instance where this is a band I put up on the board. And, you know, I'll get in line and talk about my actual thoughts about Jet, but I did want to put this out there. The reason I put Jet on the board was because, and it's funny, every time Josh shows up on the show, usually this happens and after the fact, I have to bring up Auntie Donna. But that is why Jet got put on the board. I was listening to the Auntie Donna pod, and they were talking about Jet, and I believe something came up about they only have 3 records, and I was like, oh, all right. Well, let's put this on the board and see if anybody bites. And fast forward maybe a month later, and I think Josh kind of, I don't want to say jokingly, obviously, but you said, I think I saw Jet on the board. So talk to me about Jet, Josh.
Well, I honestly think they might have been a band that, like, my first CD was Jet, I think. First CD I actually wanted, and that would have been in 2003.
Wow.
And they had that I think it was iPod ad.
Yeah.
As well, If Are You Gonna Be My Girl? And I ended up seeing them opening for Green Day when I was a kid as well. So I feel like they were part of the fabric of my childhood, even though, you know, they didn't really last for that long.
You're making me feel old, man. I feel like this is the first time where you've really done that. It made me feel old, as many conversations we had. Now, Jennie has access to the panel board, like putting, you know, people, their names wherever. So she doesn't, you know, sign up for things like and say, hey, or go, hey, Justin. She just puts her name places.
Yes.
And I can't remember why, but I just randomly went to check where Jet was if you know, we didn't have a panel yet. And suddenly there's Jennie's name. I was like, oh, we do have a panel. So why did you sneak onto this panel?
Stealth mode.
Why'd you stealth mode on?
I started listening to them years ago when they were getting a lot of radio play, which is usually the biggest thing that will kill a band for me. And I know you understand that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But I was really drawn into their like classic rock sensibility. And I just absolutely fell in love with them from the get-go. I didn't know about the most recent albums, so like when I found out about that, I was like fully on board, like ready to, you know, kind of revisit because I haven't listened to them in several years, and it was a good time. And I got to listen to the new album.
That is a great way to Jet is a good time. With me, like speaking of the radio fatigue, you know, this is one of those bands they cropped up at the same time where like I was very anti this sound. I was anti Hives. You know, obviously they're not all the same, but like they all kind of came around at the same time. So I lumped them all together. The Franz Ferdinands of the world.
No, you're like listening to all the fucking Deprogram panels I've been on.
Yeah, but look what happened with all of them. I was like completely wrong, and you know we'll get into the wheres and whys of how wrong I was on Jet. You know, as we get to the list portion, but you know when I found out that they had only 3 records, you know, other than you know, Technotronic, like that is just it's always gonna like perk my ears up because a band like Jet, I don't know that I would have taken the time to like prop them up if they had 8 records. You know, like it would have been one of those bands that would have just eventually got to them because not that 8 records is a lot. It's just you know, three is that magic number of okay, I'm ready to just dive in anyway. Like I don't care. Like this won't take me long to ingest the entire discography. So, but right. I had that same Radio Fatigue with Are You Gonna Be My Girl, you know, and I was like, and Cold Hard Bitch, I feel like got a shitload of radio play. And so I'm like, oh God, like at that time, it was just easy to ignore Jet's existence, at least on anything deeper than radio level. So we've now made mention of the 3 records a whole lot, Josh, which means it comes out to 40 songs, so it's right at that 20 song limit. When you're putting your list together for this, you're taking half the discography, so that should be an easy task, no?
I feel like it doesn't matter how long the discography is. You get your 5 or 6 guaranteed, then you get about 10 you like, and then you try to fit about 15 into 4 or 5. That's maybe not quite 15 this time round, but I got to around 26 and I'm like, ugh, I don't know what to do with this last 7 or 8 songs.
So
Yep.
Jennie had a whole thing. Like, I feel like you've been very meticulous of late and very careful with your choices, you know, to not give you that headache. But but this go around, it didn't happen that way.
Yeah, so we've been trying to schedule this for like a month. So I should have had plenty of time to prepare and to finish my list.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked at it today and I thought I had completed it, but it turned out I actually didn't. I had 26, 27 songs and I had to try to figure out which ones to include. So it was a very last minute, like, and as I went through, because there's only 3 albums, like we mentioned, like, I just listened to the whole discography again, but I listened to it in a different order than I did last time to try to like last time I listened to it, the first time I listened through in chronological, and by the time I got to the end, I was like, look, I'm really familiar with these older albums. I'm not as familiar with the newer ones. So this time I started the other way to give the newer one a little bit more of a fair shake.
Mm-hmm.
And it really helped. It really did, because like, you know, when you just get so familiar with certain albums, it's hard to let go of certain things, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to go through and kind of like listen to it, and I would say like, why did I pick this one that time? And you know, it really is, because it's been so long. I'm sure that we've said this on the show before, many times before, like, if you make this list a month from now, you might pick totally different songs. And that was the experience I had. I went through and I was like, yeah, well, I passed on this before, but now I have to have it, you know? So it was a roller coaster at the last minute today.
Yeah. Again, this is another one of those bands where like I'm listening to the playlist beforehand. I'm like, is this one on my list? Oh no. It's not. Where do I make room for it? Which is always the thing. To Josh's point, I don't remember my exact number, but I remember it was probably in the high 20s, and I'm thinking, okay, well these last cuts won't be that hard, and you don't realize, because Are You Gonna Be My Girl and Cold Hard Bitch are the breakouts, right? So you think that's what you're getting. And again, we'll talk about this in depth as we get to song choices. But that's not all that they are. And I did not realize that. And again, we'll talk more and more about that as we get to it. But this band is way more well-rounded than they should be for a band that came out at that time, that came out with those singles, and that only has 3 records.
Yeah. And even that first album that those 2 songs were on, it, like, once you dive into it, it's a very well-rounded, it's a fantastic album.
Mm-hmm. I struggle giving out the perfect album title, because, you know, what's to say? Like, I've been listening to Paramore's Brand New Eyes a lot lately, and here's the zing of the year here, folks. The only exception from that being a perfect record is the song. The only exception. Oh God, that's so stupid.
But it was still very funny.
But I mean, that record is perfect, save for that one song. And Get Born is really, really close, and I didn't even have to spend that much time with it to realize that it is this really great. I don't want to say overlooked, but like it was definitely overlooked by me. And when it comes to this program and the way I'm viewing the band, that matters. So I don't know where they stand, as far as critics go, but Get Born, if you're listening to this, go listen to that immediately. And I think it's worth listening to their entire discography, but listen to Get Born and listen to it on repeat if necessary, and you will get quite the ride with Jet, which I didn't expect. I expected one hit wonder. I expected 12 cold hard bitches, I think. But no, that just
a whole dozen of bitches.
Yeah, it's just not that. So, that said, again, 3 records, 40 songs. It seems like this should be a no-brainer task. I feel like, but it may not be the case. Josh, what do you think for the final say? How many do you think we get through unanimously?
I'm just going to go in the middle and say 5 because I've learned over time to go a bit lower, but I feel like Jet have a couple of songs that, will be hard to resist.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Jenny, what are you thinking?
I was gonna say 5, but I think I'll go with 4.
4. Okay, so now last night when we recorded Ramones, I did Price is Right and went with 1. So do I do that in hopes that the ones that seem like gimmies get in, and it doesn't give me the burden of having the final say? And I've had people say, Justin, why don't you just not participate? I like participating. I just don't like when I win. It feels weird.
I understand that completely.
Or do I go positive and overshoot Josh's 5 and go with like 6 or 7? My gut feeling says I want to go positive because, here's hoping that the songs found us all the same. Actually, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ultra positive. I'm going to go 8.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going to go 8. Because again, that seems like a big, huge swing. And if I land it, then I feel good because that means this went swimmingly. Of course, it puts the pressure on me having to pick the 10th song, but at least we'll have a pleasant discussion to get there. So we're going to take a quick pause, and when we come back, we're going to play the game, Jack. It's the program. And with that, the name of the game is Deprogrammed. The 3 of us have combed through the Jet discography and plucked out 20 songs that we are now going to mash together in an attempt to create a top 10 starter kit for you, in case you have never given Jet the time of day. And I'm always hesitant to start here because, there's a usual play that I like to go to, and this is obviously a song that I wanted to ignore. But I feel like I could not. It is very much in line with what I was hoping for from the band. It's oftentimes my favorite part of what the band does. I'm going with Are You Gonna Be My Girl?
Yeah.
I didn't do that one.
Okay. That's all right.
Fucking it up right out of the gate.
Nah, it's a 2. Like I believe me, when we look at this entire discography, I can get that not being in, and I can also see, I don't know if I'm putting words in your mouth. I could see where this would be one of those things where you left off thinking that either A, you just don't want to be part of making it unanimous, or B, everybody else will have it and it can come back around in the conversation.
That was one for me. That song was the most oversaturated for me, and still, as I listen to it, I like it when I listen to the album, but if it comes up like on a playlist, I might not listen to it on its own because I've just heard it so many times.
Understandable.
So many times.
Understandable. But for anyone listening, it comes up second on the album, and so it's very early on that you get introduced to it. So if you've never heard it before and you hear bam 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 bam, and Brian said, "Oh, the ripoff of Iggy Pop," and sure, it does feel like a Lust for Life, and I don't understand why that's a bad thing. Like, I'm cool with that.
Lust for Life is a great song.
Yeah, like I'm cool with that.
I'll be sacrilegious here. I'll put in my notes. Yes, it sounds like Lust for Life, but it's better.
Wow.
But I do have to give some context here. So in Australia, in terms of like classic rock songs from this country, it seems like we're stuck in the 80s, and in every barbecue it's still Cold Chisel, Midnight Oil, and those sorts of bands. Are You Gonna Be My Girl is probably one of the only, and I say modern, it's 20 years old, but one of the only modern songs that seems to get a run at most of those parties. And I suppose I hear it and I'm like, well, that's actually something from my generation. So I feel like I've become fonder for it over time. Granted, I didn't listen to it for about 5 or 6 years after it came out, but now at barbecues and I hear that, I'm like, yes, that's something I grew up with instead of something from the.
So we'll get back around to this when in the conversation. I'm okay if it doesn't get in, but we'll see where we are when we get there, because it feels like a gimme, but we'll see when we get there. Josh.
Tell you what, I'm glad it wasn't a gimme because it makes it more interesting.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
You're right.
I think I'm going to go with my favorite Jet song, and it's called "Bring It On Back." I don't know why. I've always loved it.
I got it.
Oh, good.
I remember that definitely. Yes, I have that one.
I'm pushing the wrong buttons. I'm using both for context. I'm using both a PC and a Mac at the same time right now. So it's trying to remember what combinations are.
Is it Command or Control?
It's Command. It's Command.
Deftones.
Yes, Command Control. I love that jam. All right, Bring It On Back was All of Us, right? There we go. Now I can play it. I should have played it while I was doing that. You would think I'd be better at this.
It's only been 6 years?
Yeah,
maybe
it's
more.
Technically 7, but those first year and a half was Free Radio. So there's a lot of songs where I feel like I don't necessarily have an explanation other than I just like it. And here you go, second song into our conversation, and we're already not Cold Hard Bitch, Are You Gonna Be My Girl? Already. Second song in, and it hit all of us. Because they do this too, friends. This is great.
I feel like he's always renowned for obviously his voice and the more raucous sort of rockers, but he does ballads very well too. And I feel like maybe he hasn't got the perfect voice, but it sounds very genuine and heartfelt when he does get in moments like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the song craft itself is quite good, because the fact that they can write songs like "Are You Gonna Be My Girl," albeit it does sound like a rip-off, but then write these sorts of songs as well, and it doesn't sound unnatural.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a good to them as a band.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking as I was listening, and then as I was listening today, there was this weird amalgamate, maybe the word that I'm looking for, of the first two bands that came to mind is this marriage between Oasis and Blur, which is sacrilege depending on who you talk to. But like it does have this Britpop feel to it at times, and but it isn't exactly that. And then of course songs like this like kind of have that heavy-handed nod to the Beatles. It's like, I mean, I know if we're talking Britpop, then of course there's going to be Beatles there somewhere, but I don't know, like I did not I'm going to say this a lot, and so I apologize for the repetition for you two that are stuck talking to me right now, and anybody who's actually listening to this, but I just didn't expect that from Jet. All right, Jenny?
You know what I'm going to do?
What?
I'm going to say cold hard bitch.
Yeah, I got it.
Me too.
Yeah.
I couldn't resist it. Like, I listened to that one, and you know, I'm a bit of a feminist,
Right.
but I listened to that song. I'm like, yeah, fuck that bitch. Fuck that bitch.
So, and you know, again, I'm glad that this one's unanimous, because of the two, I would rather have this than Be My Girl. I could still see Be My Girl getting in the conversation, but again, but I feel like not having Cold Hard Bitch would be completely wrong.
It's such a great fucking like classic rock vibe to me. Like, I mean, like when you mentioned how it's being played at barbecues with you know, the 80s music and stuff, like because it sounds like exactly the same, but just modernized, and that's what I love about them.
That intro lick is very AC/DC.
Yeah. You're spot on. It does sound like a time capsule, that opener. You can imagine the band just coming on and playing that, and it just builds so much excitement for the song.
And this is one, although it played a lot, I don't think I ever got as tired of this one. Maybe it's because it's got the word bitch in it. I don't know. Whatever the reason, I still really, really enjoy this jam. All right. So there we go. We got two. Let me go with the one answer that we got, the one real answer we got. And again, I knew I was in trouble by the time I got to this, which I think it's like the fourth song on the record. And I realized, okay, so they're not just Be My Girl. Look What You've Done.
Yeah.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
So good.
I mean, talk about Beatles influence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
just breaks into a magic way through.
That's where, you know, it's very Hey Jude. But like my first, it's why I brought up Oasis, because initially I was thinking of Don't Go Away and Don't Look Back in Anger. And I was like, hey, dummy, Hey Jude was first. Yeah. But yeah, it's just a great jam. And like I said, it's the only real answer we got. You know, he first said the one that rips off Iggy Pop, and then he was like, oh, Look What You've Done. That's the one I love. So there we go.
I wonder if this song was influenced. I know we Oasis, because I was listening to a podcast recently with him, and he was saying that he wrote it when he was young, like in like 97 or 98. And I wonder if that influenced through.
Yeah, 97, 98, I think would have been Be Here Now.
Yeah. I just find it intriguing that, you know, the song's been bumping around for 5 or 6 years before they had their first record.
Yeah. That's crazy. All right. There we
This
go.
is making me feel old today.
Yeah. we're doing that. All right, Josh, where do you want to go?
I want to go with Put Your Money Where Your Mouth Is. Very raunchy, cheeky sounding song.
I got it.
Yup.
Yeah. My 8 is not looking so crazy now. Put your money where
I just remember hearing that song when I was younger, and it was like, again, I'm going with the trying to make you guys feel old thing, but but I remember that was the first like band that I loved, and I remember actively like being excited about a second album coming out, a follow up, and I remember hearing that song on the radio and being like, "Wow, this is Jet, isn't it? Oh, this is sick."
What I liked about this one is that it has that like classic rock, that AC/DC kind of feel to it, but they also have like a little bit of like the 70s glam rock that comes out in this song, and just fantastic.
Like, I hate to keep. I mean, this whole show is about singing the praises of Jet, but like, I hate to keep harping on. There's a lot of different sounds here, and just you don't expect it, and this is like this welcome surprise of. It has obviously here. I'm gonna crank it for a second. So it has that same element, and then it goes back to that AC/DC thing where it pulls back, but it has. They just they combine a lot of sounds, man, and I mean, for a band that really was nowhere near my radar, I really appreciate that. All right, Jenny.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna come back to what Josh said about ballads, because I absolutely love their ballads, and I tried really, really hard to not pick like every single one of them, honestly. um, and this one, like I initially passed because it was like too much of a personal favorite, I think. But I had to include it, and that's Eleanor.
Yeah, those harmonies are so locked in this song.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Well, I don't have it, so I'll be the asshole here.
That's fine. Look, just
someone's gonna do
it. Sometimes when you mention like, "Oh, this is my favorite" or whatever, like it's just an instant curse.
Yeah.
So I was prepared for it to be just no.
That was one. I know you guys were mentioning before about rediscovering things or being surprised by things on a second or third listen, but I'll be honest, this wasn't a song I listened to much when I was younger, and I remember re-listening to the album, and it's almost like I forgot about it, but I'm like, I don't understand why, and maybe my tastes have matured over time, but I couldn't resist. Like, as I said, the harmonies are beautiful, and the whole song is just really pretty and sweet to listen to.
Mm-hmm. Like you said,
And another one that shows off their diversity.
Yeah, like he does all these like really hard, vocals where he's like just screaming, and then he turns and does something like this, and it's beautiful.
Indeed. I'm going to take a crack at Shaka Rock because we haven't gone there yet. And I noticed that not a lot of stuff survived from Shock Rock, and I want to say now that's not because it's not a good record. It really is. But I found that if you want to get into this band, you really need the first two records, and then Shock Rock is like this nice little bonus. So I brought stuff from it, but I also feel like the first two is like the real meat. But here's one that I really connected with for Shaka Rock. She's a Genius.
Yep.
I don't have that one.
Okay.
That's a good single. I think that was their lead single from the album from memory.
Yeah, by the time this one would have came out, I was absolutely not paying attention. It's weird, like when I think about it, because like I remember the Shine On singles, but I don't. I guess I didn't realize it was off of a second record. Like I just it kind of all bled together, and I was like, oh my God, we're still getting Jet songs. So, all right, Josh.
It's funny when you're talking about Shaka Rock and saying that, because I've got about another 6.
Oh.
Lots songs to go. They're down towards the bottom of the 20, but I was just thinking, oh, this is awkward.
Oops.
But I this was another one of their singles, a Shaka Rock. But next song 17.
I don't got it.
I didn't pick that one.
Oh no.
8 was it 8? That might be in danger now.
Possibly, yes. I mean, we're right at Jenny's 4, so worst case scenario, Jenny wins. Like, one of us is gonna win. So
I don't want to win. That's pressure.
the weight, the pressure of it. I believe me, I understand. A lot of these cuts just came just cause.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
This was a very superficial one for me in a way because, like, when I saw it, all I could think about was like these like kind of problematic songs from like the 60s and 70s,
Oh.
like, you know, she's sexy and 17 or whatever, and I'm
Yeah.
like, that's all I could think about, and that's not what the song is. But when I thought about like, do I include this, you know, as a first impression kind of a thing? It's like maybe somebody else would think the same thing. So
Yeah, I mean, also sometimes you got to come up with whatever you can to get the
Exactly.
cuts. So, all right, Jenny.
Well, hell, I'll stay on Shaka Rock too, because one of the things I liked a lot of the songs on it, but it didn't feel like it gelled as well as an album compared to the other ones. Like Shine On is, I had like all but like 3, and those probably made my first pass.
Mm.
Like the entire album was on my list. This one was a little bit harder to pull from, and like the songs were good. They just didn't flow as well as some of the other ones, you know. So I'm gonna pick Start the Show.
Yeah, I got that.
I'm sorry. That is a good song. That was in my short list, but not quite there.
I found it frustrating that it was at the end of the album.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
it's like it says start the show. That's how you start the album.
Yeah.
Maybe they were just warming up. Maybe that's why it was so disjointed. They're like, you know what? We're going to get down to a 10th track and we'll be ready.
We'll start the show now. It's a little late.
The cleaner's out. The cleaner from the Smells Like Teen Spirit video. He's mopping up. But every time, I know we've mentioned AC/DC, but start the show. Surely that's a sample of AC/DC. Like every time I heard it, I just think that unless someone does the best impression, but that first line, it just sounds exactly like AC/DC.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Maybe we'll get a
Someone
list
needs-
on the next round.
It has so much cowbell. So much cowbell.
All right. Where do I go now? Let me go here. How about Rollover DJ?
Yep.
I don't have that one. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm gonna have a lot of like solo tracks at the end. I just know it.
1 and 2. We're filling out this conversation nicely, though. Let me, while on that topic, I think we're 4 unanimous. Yep. And 5 in the convo. So we're one away from eliminating the need for NTP. All right, Josh.
Okay, so I'm going to go something that, well, I know it's a deep cut now because when I looked at the Spotify plays, it had the least amount of plays of anything from Get Born. But it's a song called Lazy Gun.
I got it.
Yes.
Hey.
Oh, beautiful.
Wow.
That was what I missed as a kid. But I don't know, that song, it has a different vibe to a lot of their songs, but I just love the sounds, that weird sort of slidey sinful guitar sound in the verse. I still don't know what it is, but I know. And how instead of building out to a big chorus like they normally do, they slow down and take out the drums, and it sounds like he's really belting it out. I don't know. I liked it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of that. And it comes back to what Jenny said when she was making her introduction, is there's a surprisingly lot of, again, for a band who puts out Are You Gonna Be My Girl and Cold Hard Bitch, you expect rockers, but what you should have drawn from those two jams is that they're fun. And there's a lot of heart, but there's also a lot of fun. All right. So Lazy Gun is in. And now we're at 5. So I'm sorry, Jenny, but you lose.
That's wow. I'm so disappointed. I don't get to choose.
But you're also up.
Oh shit. Okay, that's pressure too. How about Get Me Out of Here?
Yeah.
Yep.
Ooh.
Hey.
Uh-oh.
You're right on here, Justin.
Uh-oh. The pressure, I can feel it already. There's 6. Wow. Get Me Out of Here. This is another one of those songs that, like, as I'm listening beforehand, I was like, I got that one right. And I was like, oh, thank God. Again, it kind of fits the narrative of what you expect from them. That doesn't make it a bad song. They also have that same Scott Pilgrim vibe, and this song especially like gives me that Scott Pilgrim the Scott Pilgrim soundtrack feel.
I can see that.
Yeah.
All right. So Get Me Out of Here was Jenny. So now we're back to me. How about the title track from Shine On? Shine On.
Oh,
Yes.
sorry.
Okay.
That's a good one, but I don't have it.
I think just like that, we're officially out of the NTP.
Woo.
I'm dumb. I'm typing in Shine On, and it's like, duh, that's the name of the record, too. So the whole thing came up. All right. Josh?
I think I'm going to go with a song called Times Like This of Shaka Rock.
I got it.
Nice.
I have that one.
Okay, 2.
I'm just not on the same page with you guys on Shaka Rock.
All right. And Jenny?
Let's see. How about Shiny Magazine?
Nope.
That was on my, I think that was like 24th on my list. It's close.
Yeah, I mean, I heard like this kind of George Harrison like guitar solo in the middle, and I was like, they got me. They got me.
One thing I will say with Jet, which was hard when I was taking notes for this, is that like, I'll use Blur as an example, but even like some other bands that have quite a varied amount of sounds, it's very easy to talk about the songs, but for Jet, so many of them, like in my notes, are just like nice solo. And I'm like, well, I can't say that for 15 songs.
Fair.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't have the vocabulary to really change it up that much, so I'm just gonna stay quiet instead.
All right. So we're back to me. What do I got left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I still have 8. Okay, so we'll do a couple more rounds here. How about Hey Kids?
No.
No.
Well, that's first time into the bin for me. Lola, you are weird, cat. She's
My
been
cat's
sitting
been
behind me,
spazzing
and now
this entire
suddenly
time.
she's like right up in my face. Like, why? All of a sudden now.
That's how cats be.
Yep.
He's a cold hard bitch.
Indeed. All right, Josh.
So I'm gonna go with Get What You Need purely because of this really banal sort of childhood memory I have. Again, going with the childhood band sort of thing. I remember being at a sleepover when I was about 8, and then I couldn't get to sleep. I would have been 9 actually, And I got up in the middle of the night. My friend's older brother was playing games. It was a hockey game, and Get What You Need was on the soundtrack. So
Oh.
for some reason, whenever I hear that, I'm transported to not being able to sleep, and it would have been like 10 p.m.
Oh,
I got
I
it.
love shit like that. I do have it. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm surprised. I'm glad though.
what does that put us at?
Is that 7?
That's
I got
7. Uh-oh.
Oh gosh, you might get this one.
Uh-oh. I'm going to pay for my positivity.
Look, at this point, I'm aiming for 10. I want to have 10.
All right. Jenny?
Oh, it's my turn. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I love this one. Timothy.
Yep.
Okay, no. 2, though.
You know what, Jen? You know, I actually heard this song for the first time, and it's the weirdest place. I heard it sampled on a Timberland record, and I don't know how it popped up on YouTube.
What?
I know. And I'm like, what the hell? This is like 2007 revisited. They sampled this song, and then I heard the actual song. I'm like, how did I notice this in the first place? And what makes it even, well, not funnier, it's kind of awful, but like, Timberland sampled this, but then I heard that this song was written by about the guitarist's brother that passed away before he was born, and he said, "I took your place." And it gave so much depth to a song that already was quite somber, and hearing that just made me appreciate the song more,
Mhm.
and it's helped me forget the fact that it was sampled on a Timberland record.
All right, so we're back to me.
I need to hear that song, though,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
How about
for science.
Stand Up?
No.
Oh, that was probably like number 22.
Oh.
Yeah,
I told you I like all of all of Shine On. I'm pretty sure made my first pass.
you know what? My batting average is pretty high this episode, so I'm not going to complain about 2 into the bin. All right.
Secretly just wiping off some sweat off your brow, go, phew.
Yeah, right.
Not up to 8.
All right, Josh?
You should just make up song titles, and then we'll obviously
See who's paying attention.
just name other classic rock songs. You're like, Jet probably covered it anyway.
Hell's Bells.
I'm gonna go with Black Hearts on Fire.
Oh, I
No.
don't have it. Yeah, I think that must have been. Yeah, Shock Rock. That must have been like a late cut for me, because like when you said it, I immediately looked at my list thinking I had it.
Same.
If I had to guess, that would have been in that 22 to 24 range, somewhere around there.
You should just make a big playlist called 20 to 24, and just all the songs I've just missed out. That would be quite a varied playlist, I imagine.
I like it.
Yeah.
Very niche and very specific, but hidden gems.
Call it Oh So Close.
Yeah.
All right, Jenny?
How about She Holds a Grudge? Because I do hold a grudge.
No, sorry.
No, I don't have either.
That's fine.
And now
Number one's add to the grudge list.
I'm gonna hold a grudge.
Jenny's gonna hold a grudge on. All right. I think we're just about. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just do one more round and then we'll dump out. How about Skin and Bones?
No.
Oh, no.
I've managed to find the ones that didn't make Jenny's list somehow.
I mean, look, I just said it, but it made my first pass.
Yeah. I'm gonna give this a second here. Hold on. All right. Josh?
I'm gonna go with That's All Lies.
Hey, I do have that one.
I don't.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
And I'm not lying, I promise. The integrity of the list for me is far too important. All right, Jenny?
I'm running out of songs, I think. All You Have to Do.
Nope.
Bop.
I don't think we've said this yet. They're really good at the closers.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was really funny that they put basically the reprise of this song at the beginning.
Yeah. All right, so I'm ticking down to my last couple here, so I'll just dump out. Start at the top, shall we? Or the computer could not do what I ask it to do. That's fine. Boop, boop. Literally at the top, Last Chance.
no, that was
Hey, I
that
have
was
that
very close. Oh, you're lucky, Justin. I had it 21.
Saved.
All right. Next I have Holiday.
No, that's a good one though.
Nope.
Good rocker.
All right. See, I did that one. Oh, I skipped one. Take It or Leave It.
No.
Why does that seem familiar? I don't have it.
Okay. And last but not least, Rip It Up.
Yes.
Oh, that was like in the mid to low 20s.
Oh boy. Dodges a bullet. So wait, did you say yes, Josh?
Yes to Rip It Up. Yep.
Okay. So it's a 2 though. Okay. So
I'll rip out my list.
so we got 7, but you guys have a chance to make our conversation a little bit harder. But that's it for no more chances at unanimous. All right. Josh?
I got a couple songs of Shaka Rock here. So I've got Walk.
Yes.
Oh.
Nice. Very nice. I've got KIA, Killed in Action.
Yes.
All very good. And I've also got La Di Da.
That's the other one I have.
Wow.
Just knocking them all out. And I only have one left now, and that's Come On, Come On, which we obviously don't have.
That one was, if I had to guess, Come On was number 21. If I had to guess. I don't know for sure, but I'm almost positive that was the last one that dropped off. Well, folks, 7 through unanimously. I was right to be optimistic, but we were off by 1. Look what you've done. Get what you need. Get me out of here. Cold hard bitch. Lazy gun. Put your money where your mouth is. Bring it on back. Are through. Now let us.
Good Lord.
What do we got here?
14. Sorry, I'm cheating. I'm looking ahead.
Woof. All right, so the 14 that got through to the next round are Last Chance, Are You Gonna Be My Girl, Rollover DJ, Timothy, That's All Lies, Shine On, Rip It Up, Eleanor, KIA, She's a Genius, La Di Da, Walk, Times Like This, and Start the Show. So there's 3 left. Let's talk about Shaka Rock first. Do we need a song from Shaka Rock? We've got a couple available there.
Yeah, at least one.
Okay.
Very good.
Yeah.
Do you have one that you're leaning towards? Lola, you are in the way.
Oh gosh. Sorry, I can't remember all of them. I've got a couple of them down here. I need that list. KIA was it? What was it? KIA, La Di Da, Times Like This. Walk was one as well. Was it?
So it's KIA, She's a Genius, La Di Da, Walk, Times Like This, and Start the Show.
Okay. I like pretty much all those songs, so I'll leave that to you guys, and I'll tell you if you're choosing between two.
Do you have one that you're leaning towards, Jenny?
Okay. My heart wants to say Start the Show. I think that was my favorite off of that album. But for some reason, I'm remembering I really liked Walk.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say between those two.
That's funny because my inclination was either Start the Show or She's a Genius. So I feel like that kind of gives a little bit of a edge to Start the Show, doesn't it?
I mean, I had it, so it's tough for me to say to make that call.
Can I be annoying? Even though I just completely jibbed out a second ago.
Of course.
I didn't have Start the Show, even though I quite like it. Walk sounds like 3 or 4 songs in one. And that way we can sort of pretend that Shaka Rock, we've got more than one song represented here. Because it starts off as this sort of piano ballad, then it's like, you know, there's a bit more rock instrumentation. And then the chorus, I don't know how to describe it, but I'm not going to say salsa. I really don't know music that well, but almost, it's got a whole different rhythm to it. It's an oddball song.
Which would
and then a total pop rock solo at the end of it all, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Which might be a good reason to pick that, because there is like this oddball thing to Shaka Rock. Like, it's not... It is an evolution of the band that doesn't step too far away from what they do, but is also, like Jenny said, it doesn't, like, the whole thing doesn't flow together, but this kind of encapsulates that record. So maybe we go with Walk then. I'm for it. Let's do it.
Plus, Start the Show was song 11 of 12, and for that idiocy, it doesn't deserve to get rewarded, even though it's a good song. You know, I that was very close to getting on my list, but yeah, you can't put an opener at song 11.
No.
It's not smash hit CD, you know.
It's true.
I want to like take the songs and rearrange them and like make my album version of Shaka Rock.
All right. So if that kind of eliminates the rest of Shock Rock, we've got 2 left. Is there a song that's kind of jumping out at you, Jenny, that you're like, man, that really probably needs to go through?
Of Shaka Rock or any of them?
Any of them.
Ooh. Look, I told you I'm just a whore for Shine On.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like we need more representation of that album.
Okay.
I'm leaning Eleanor, but I think that's maybe my personal bias.
That is a good song. Just to give you a bit of back there.
You're validating my personal bias.
Or just yeah, those harmonies, like you wouldn't expect that going into Jet, and I suppose that's good for a playlist like this. You know, as we said before, you're expecting "Are You Gonna Be My Girl" and Roll Over DJ. Then hearing such a like delicate song like that with those harmonies, I feel like, you know, it would be a good surprise for someone listening to the playlist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you sold me on my own pick. I'm in.
Well, let's do it then. And, you know, while we're on the subject, with only 1 song left, I think we've officially put the kibosh to "Are You Gonna Be My Girl." I don't think we need it at this point. I think we've done well without it. I don't. If we still had, like, I don't know, if we had only gotten 5 through unanimously, I might have put up more of a fight for it. But I feel like the fact that it wasn't unanimous, to me, says that, and it's just now coming up in conversation. So,
and I suppose now as well, Justin, like, again, just farting on about the playlist, that's something that I'd be absolutely shocked if someone hasn't heard. So if someone's going into this podcast thinking, I like Jet, they already know "Are You Gonna Be My Girl." They don't need that in the 10.
Yeah.
Because that song's, you know, already iconic as is. So, like, this is a good opportunity to put in something else, I think, as much as I love the song.
So that brings up the question of, is this where we get back to album representation? Because we still, even with adding Eleanor in, we still only have 3 from Shine On. So do we complete it with another Shine On tune? And then leave just the one Shaka Rock? Because we have 5 from Get Born.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely in favor of that.
Yeah.
All right, so That's All Lies, Shine On, and Rip It Up are the 3 that are left. Do you have an inclination towards one of those?
I'm thinking Rip It Up.
Mm.
Yeah.
I was the one that didn't have it, and I love the energy of it. It has that classic Jet sound. It has like what we would have given the list with Are You Gonna Be My Girl? I think that level of energy, but it's not that song.
Mm-hmm. I'm with it. Boom.
Yep.
That gives us our 10. Yes, it does. So here we go. Before we get to the next difficulty level. Look What You've Done. Get What You Need. Get Me Out of Here. Cold Hard Bitch. Lazy Gun. Put Your Money Where Your Mouth Is. Bring It On Back. Walk. Eleanor. Rip It Up. Now, Josh, of those 10, you have one song to give to somebody to get into Jet. Which one is it?
Oh, see, I've got my own personal bias towards Bring It On Back, but I suppose it depends on what side of the band you want to showcase first of all. And again, I'm wearing down the fence by sitting on it. But I think if I was trying to show Jet to a friend, I'd try to think about like their own taste first, because you can, as I said, you can showcase 2 sides of the band. But Bring It On Back was my favorite Jet song, so I suppose I'll put that out there. But I'm happy to be swayed.
Do you have an inclination, Jenny?
I do like that pick because if I remember, like, I've probably just listened to so many of their songs today that they're kind of all mixing in my head a little bit. But I feel like there's a ballady part, but then it also gets into the classic rock kind of sound a little bit too. So you get a little bit of dynamic in that song. I'm kind of leaning towards. I'm actually kind of leaning towards Rip It Up a little bit. Even though I didn't pick it on my list, because that's how I roll on this show sometimes. I mean, I think that just that like hard rock sound is just, that's them in a nutshell, and like something like that, or like Get What You Need, something like that real high energy shit. Like, I'm leaning a little bit more towards that way, but oh man, I don't even know if I want to ask to listen to either one of them because it never helps.
So, here's what I like about Bring It On Back. One of the things I said leading up was I expected Are You Gonna Be My Girl, right? And I think Bring It On Back is a great way to go. Yes, they do that, but it's also this, which isn't, it's not that far away. It's not as far away as you think. Like,
right.
That is definitely Jet when you listen to it. Now, that being said, I am also a huge fan of that higher energy. The other song I was looking at Cold Hard Bitch and Get What You Need as well, because that high energy. So I'm for either the curveball of Bring It On Back, or give me the energy of Get What You Need. If anybody's got a definitive that they'd like to put down.
I think that's tough. Out of those 2, I'd probably choose Rip It Up, but both would be a pretty good entry into the rest of their discography.
Here's what I like about Rip It Up, though. It gives that energy without that "Are you going to be my girl?" energy, but it's not "Are you going to be my girl?" So it does that same thing of, you know, what I said. Like you hear, it's like, "Are you going to be my girl?" is the confirmation because it's the second song, and you go, "Oh yeah, okay, so they are that." And "Rip It Up" is further confirmation, but is that energy without the exhaustion of having heard the song a million times.
Yeah.
Which something like "Cold Hard Bitch" could possibly carry. So I don't know. Like
that's enough.
if we're leaning towards energy, then I say "Rip It Up."
Yeah, and I suppose as well we can say that's right in the middle of that's from their second album, so we can say this represents both sides.
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't really sound like anything of Shaka Rock, but you know, if we're trying to pick between hairs here, that might be tenuous logic to get it through. But I like either of those choices, to be honest.
Well, I mean, there is a reason that we got 7 through unanimously, even though "Rip It Up" wasn't one of those. Let's do it though. Let's lock it in. Rip it up. Here, let's get back to it. There we go. There it is. "Rip It Up" is our number 1. Look what you've done. Look what we've done. Get what you need. Get me out of here. "Cold Hard Bitch." Lazy Gun. Put your money where your mouth is. Bring It On Back. Walk and Eleanor round out our 10. Let's let "Rip It Up" get its moment in the sun. Done it. We've gotten you into Jet, even though we were very decisive and indecisive all in one episode. we gave you both sides of the spectrum here, and you're welcome for that. If you disagree with our list, that's fine. You can reach out to me on Threads at @deprogrammedva and say, hey, you're wrong about this choice. If you aren't on Threads and don't want to do that, that's cool too. You can find me on Twitter at the Hulkster. Or reach out, Lola. Oh my God, this cat. You can reach out at Discord. Actually, is a great place to do it, and you can find that by going to legionofstupid.com. If you scroll down just a little bit, you'll find the Discord icon. You click on that, it'll give you an invite to our server, the Legion of Stupid server, where there's no big whoop. We chat, no big whoop. Sometimes we talk about coffee. You can count with us. That's always fun. There's a music bot boy that we compare notes on what we're listening to, essentially. All sorts of great stuff. And of course, there's a deprogram channel where you can come yell about panels, come say, hey, I want to talk about this band, all that stuff. And if you really want to talk about a band, if you're already at legionofstupid.com, like we said, click on podcast, or actually I think it's shows, and then click on Deprogrammed. About halfway down, there's a sign-up sheet. Tell me what band you want to talk about, and it'll happen eventually. At this point, there's quite the logjam. So whenever the logjam frees up, we'll start getting more panelists involved. But yes, let me know who you want to talk about, and we will try to make that happen. We are let me do this one first too. Patreon.com/oh hi Justin. If you'd like to pledge $1 a month, I would greatly appreciate that. It helps keep everything moving because Spotify for podcasters basically said, hey, you broke rules, didn't tell me what rules I broke, and took $200 from me. So more on that later. In short, I'm not making money from it anymore, which is fine. This is not that, but yeah, it would be awesome if you would consider becoming a patron. Also, if that's not your cup of tea, you don't got the money to spare, I understand wholeheartedly. You can help by just as easily going to Spotify and leaving a 5-star review, or going to Apple Podcasts and doing the same 5-star review. Tell me, what we did right, what we did wrong, whatever you want to do, that's cool. Just make sure you hit that 5 stars because that's how we get in more ears. And you can also share it. you know, which to me is the best thing you could do, is by telling somebody that you listen to Deprogrammed. I listen to Deprogrammed, and you should too. With that, Jet, learn them and love them, people. We'll see you next week. Bye.